Set. 4, 3, 1.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to the Sunday Morning Quarterback. Today we are three pastors who love ministry, leadership, and sports. We are in our post-Thanksgiving life. John, did you eat too much turkey on Thanksgiving?
I did, but I've already been to the gym multiple times since that day, so I'm feeling good about it.
There you go, Dad. I saw you eating extra cake and pie, pumpkin pie. Have you been to the gym or worked out yet?
I have worked out twice.
Twice?
But, yeah, dude. Yeah, man. Yeah.
Well, it's that
So what
time
about
of
you,
year.
Joseph? Wait a second. Have you been to the gym?
I haven't, because I was at his house in the country all week, and I was
Hey,
planning on
John,
going.
I tell him you don't need to go to the gym. I told him how you can do the HIIT workouts with me. Oh, I can't do that, man. Too hard. Like, oh, man.
Hey, I'll do it tonight. I was going to go this morning, and then, the church member's like, 7:30 surgery. You want to come pray with me? So he's just doing the Lord's work, but I'll do it tonight.
Hey, John, I did tell him, I said, hey, let's do it together. He's showing me all these videos. I said, okay, let's do it. Cricket.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Monday. It's a new day. It's a new day, but hey, we're in a new month too. We're in December. December is probably one of my favorite times of year for ministry and for sports. Today we're going to talk a little bit about Christian parenting and how we can build a foundation of gratitude within our home this Christmas. So we'll talk about that on the back half. But man, there's a lot of sports going around. When we're recording here on this Monday, we just watched the Georgia 7 overtime game. A lot of storylines going on in the NFL. So let's talk college football for a minute, John. As we start to see the college playoff shape way and we start to get an idea about what teams are going to be there, what are your thoughts on everything taking shape and kind of what sticks out to you right now?
Well, I forecasted the opportunity. I just watched it back, in fact, because I was looking at see how close I had gotten. And I still have Texas out front. I think Texas is a team to beat. I think the rest of the SEC's stumbled a little bit more than I think was anticipated. Pretty sure Georgia should have lost that game against Georgia Tech. Had a couple refs in the pocket, helped out a lot in a lot of different ways, but we're not going to get into that. I don't need a Georgia fan stop tuning in here for just a moment. But I'm looking at it, man. I think it's exciting. I think 12 is a good number to see how it plays out. I like the idea of a bye week. I hope Notre Dame gets trashed because they just walk through just a ridiculous schedule, and it's time to join the league. It's time to man up. But nonetheless,
Yep.
I think it's going to be a really exciting time. I like the storylines and how they're unfolding. I think there's a lot of good games that are going to be coming up. I am kind of curious about the whole, hey, you can win your division 3-4 losses and make it to the playoffs. I think that's really hard. It's really hard. Watching Miami plummet as far as they did, that was hard. I don't think they should have went all the way out of the playoff picture, nor the conference championship for that matter, but I'm not in charge. I'll make those decisions. So,
Yeah, Paul was supposed to be on today, and of course he blamed it on church meetings, but we know that it's because Miami took the L this past weekend and he was crying. Dad, what's stuck out to you for the college playoff?
I just like the parity. There's another team that is not getting a lot of pub, but I've been keeping my eye on them, and that's SMU. And so you have a team like SMU who can, play good ball, keep winning, and they're under the radar, but, keep an eye on them. But I think this could be Oregon's year. They are playing good ball. I'm not – that was a bad loss when Georgia beat Texas. So Oregon has been plugging away. They've been consistent. They have a high-powered offense. They've not been stopped yet this year. So this may be the year Oregon wins it. But I will say that if Texas wins it all, I'll be a happy camper.
Well, here's the weird thing. Go ahead, John.
well, how crazy would it be, though, if SMU comes in and wins it with paying players after getting the death knell for paying players? Man, what a story that would be. You're talking about 30 for 30. That would be an excellent story.
Oh yeah, you saw Eric Dickerson in the locker room. He's like, we've been waiting for so many years for this. I think one thing though that everybody kind of doesn't know how to feel about is the conference championships, because in the past if you lost, Alabama would lose in the SEC championship and then not make it to the playoff. Well, now you're hearing, Ole Miss saying, well, we'd rather not make it to the playoff because we don't want to get penalized for it. And then you're hearing people say, well, you're not going to get penalized for making it to the championship whether you lose or not. And so I think they're really going to have to come up with a clear criteria of, is it conference championships? What value do they hold? Because right now you have some teams that are going to get in without it. And then, we're going to see Georgia, Texas again. So do we see a repeat or do we see Texas? And then the weird part could be we could see Georgia and Texas match up for a third time. And so a lot of weird ramifications from this. Dad, do you think that we'll see, a lot of the northern schools that are ranked higher that haven't had as hard a schedule as the SEC? Do you think the SEC would be dominant, or do you think we'll see a variety of upsets, or how do you see it playing out? And they're going to have home games. These aren't going to be centrally located.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to be dominant. I think the SEC's got a lot of holes. Georgia's got a lot of holes. And so I like Oregon, of course. I like Ohio. Well, I did like Ohio State. That's a story in its own self, is what happened with Ohio State and Michigan. I thought they were going to absolutely roll after the last couple of years, and they laid an egg. And so that opens the door for teams like Indiana. So you got teams like Indiana. You got teams like SMU. Are you serious? This is going to be one wild ride, and I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, and I think we all think Oregon. Are they going to be the princess, or are they going to turn into a frog at the end of the night? Can they sustain it? But I do like the matchups. I like the variety of matchups of teams that you just wouldn't see, and you're just going to put different teams on some fields that we wouldn't really get. So, John, who's your early choice for coach at North Carolina?
Oh man, I didn't even thought about it. Honestly, man, what a bad year. Quarterback went down week 1. We've just fumbled through it. Realized how bad we needed that guy to be QB1. Defense has been subpar as long as Mac has been there. I like Mac. How can you not like Mac? He's the player's coach. He cares. But the reality is defense has stunk ever since he's returned. I don't really have anybody out there. I'm kind of curious of the coaching carousel that'll happen at the end of the year. So I'm thinking, I don't know of anybody that's currently off of a team that would be a good fit. But I think they're going to swing, and I think they're going to swing big. I think they're looking at the NIL. I think they're like, hey, we need to not just be a basketball school. It's time to be a football school. We have the facilities. We have the money. Let's make that happen. So I think they're going to take a big plunge. Now, I don't know if that's going to pay off, but I think it's out there to happen. And so we'll see.
Yeah, that'll be interesting to watch. Let's shift gears to the NFL. We're about the 3/4 of the way through. And so let's talk kind of storylines that are sticking out to you most, that you're finding most interesting. I'll start with mine. The one I think is just fascinating is the Pittsburgh Steelers. I know we talked about their schedule, which is going to get more brutal. But, man, you're seeing the resurgence of Russ, and they poured dirt on him. They said he couldn't play. He wasn't any good. So kudos to Russ. You also got to give some kudos to Mike Tomlin for navigating through that whole quarterback thing. And, man, I mean, they're just rolling right now. They beat the Bengals yesterday. And so let's see if it can transcend into the playoffs. And they were putting points up, too. That was one of my things, like, okay, we know you can play defense and run the ball, but can you score? And they had up close to 30 by halftime. So they were putting up points. You see Pickens, man, he's still raw, but, man, he can produce, and he fits Russ well. So kudos to Pittsburgh. I'd say that's probably one of my biggest surprising storylines. Dad, what's surprised you?
Two things. I think Buffalo Bills, how they retooled on the fly. They got rid of a lot of stars. And if you remember, about 3/4 of the way last year, they shifted their offense to more of a running attack and, took Allen a step back and said, hey, look, we want you to win the game when we tell you. And that has translated big time. And so I think there's been one heck of a coaching job between offense and defense in Buffalo. So this is their year. Kansas City, they're not the same. And so this is their year to take it. And then the other one is Philadelphia. I think Philadelphia, they are primed and ready to go. I think Detroit's, they're hurt. And I think they're going to be susceptible, I think, to Philadelphia. They've got a lot of injuries, Detroit right now. And so if you notice, they've been winning, but just barely the last 2 games. So I think Philadelphia is primed, ready to go, offense, defense, and they showcase themselves against the Ravens. And I think the Ravens, as per usual, are starting to show who they really are. And so I don't think that they're going to be a major player moving forward.
Dad, early season, you heard a lot of talk about Lamar winning another MVP, and it's kind of been all over the place this year. You know, some say golf. Do you think Josh Allen has a chance? Could this be his year where he could get an MVP and then coast through and then maybe conquer Mahomes Mountain?
Yeah, I think it's going to be between two animals, a buffalo and an eagle. That's what I think is going to happen. And so there are two storylines on both. You know, it's been a while since the running backs won it. And then, you know, Josh Allen, he's come close many times. You know, they call him Superman. So if he can sustain, I think John said it best, you know, we'll find out if this the MVP is a quarterback award or not. But I think both of them, it's going to depend on how they finish.
John, what stuck out to you?
Well, I'm going to throw my MVP candidate in for Barkley. I just, you know, he's having a historic year. I mean, we're talking about numbers that haven't been put up in a quarterback pass happy league. He's playing out of his mind. I know it doesn't get a lot of attention. Running back's not that flashy anymore. But if he misses the MVP, if they give it to Josh Allen and he breaks Chad Johnson's record that stood for now nearly over a decade now, you're talking about just a missed opportunity. Then you're looking at it and you're like, well, no other player can win this thing. This is just a QB league, and so this is the score. And so I think that's a pretty big deal. The conversation about the resurgence of the Redskins is upon us. And I feel like once you start catching the rumor mill, and you can very well see me living up here in Virginia, Redskins come back, the burgundy and gold gets put back on. As a fan, I am here for it. I'm hoping that is the case. But I think it would be cool. I think there's been a lot of conversations, been really fruitful. I was surprised. Nobody sees that coming. And so you have to ask the question, did people have an issue with the team name, or did they have an issue with the owner, Snyder? And I think it was the owner. And so pretty excited about that. Looking forward to that. The other one is Joe Burrow this offseason. What is going to happen to Joe? He's a good quarterback. He's played well. Defense has not helped him out, not bailed him out at all. He's had some critical turnovers at some times. You're kind of like, man, that was game sealing. But I really hope he lands in an organization franchise that will be able to surround him with some good defensive players, not have him carry the whole thing. I don't think he's done, but I think he might be done at Cincinnati.
I mean, wow. Yeah, I mean, you can't even pay your wide receiver, and then they let go the whole back end. And so I think you're going to have to really ask questions about the cheap franchises. Trevor Lawrence comes to mind. Some of these other quarterbacks, do you be loyal, even if it means you just regressing? And so, you know, you got some major teams that are not going to make the playoffs. Another one I want to touch on, John, you've been riding for 2 years now, is the Niners. They've been decimated with injury. Even though, I mean, they've got talent all over the place, but they're going to have to make a decision pretty soon. How big of a contract do you sign Brock Purdy to? And if you have to have any casualties, who is it? You know, we saw Christian McCaffrey get hurt again last night, and you just got to think, I think it was his PCL. And so you just have to think, you know, his time is running short. And have they missed her?
Isn't that the guy that you end up maybe saying, hey, it's not working out, and give Brock a little bit of money? I think honestly, I think if you're going to have a down year for the 49ers, this year is a good one, because now you've maybe brought the cap down for Brock, where you're not going to pay him just a ridiculous amount of money. So, hey, you had a meager year. We've had some injuries, but I think you're going to put you at a good level. You're going to let go of Christian McCaffrey. I think you have to at this point to move forward with somebody that's a little bit more stable there, free up some money for some other players. I think it's working out well for them. You'd like to see them win. You know, obviously they had a good team coming into the year, but it's not been good so far.
Yeah, that'll be one to watch for sure. Hey, let's bounce to the NBA real quick, because this is the topic, Dad. I know we've been talking. What is going on with Joel Embiid and the process in Philadelphia? Is it time to hit eject and reset the process, or can this thing be turned around? Paul George is thinking, what in the world did I get myself into?
If it's going to be turned around, it has to happen now. And it really depends on what his mindset is. He's got the team. He's got the stars. Maxey has developed into a nice star piece that I think works well with him. And so you got the trifecta there, but the main cog has not come to play this year. And so you have seen that with their record and the way they're playing. So if they can't get that turned around real quickly, or if Embiid is just say, hey, look, I'm done, they need to go ahead and move off him real quickly. They can get a haul. And so now is the time to do it. But yeah, I think the process could be over.
John, any thoughts?
Yeah, I'm getting a little bit of those Leonard vibes with San Antonio when that relationship began to sour, and all of a sudden this guy was injured, not injured, going to second doctors and other stuff, not wanting to play. And I mean, he's an incredible talent. I think it's clear, but if you don't touch the floor, it doesn't really matter, you know. And so at some point you have to get on the floor. I mean, obviously San Antonio, Greg Popovich, you got a lot of trust in the organization, but in Philadelphia, they're going to turn on you. They're going to decimate you. You're get ran out of that city. This don't let the city of brotherly love catch you off guard. If you don't put up, they're going to toss you. And so you got a blue collar, I think, franchise that's hardworking, and then you have a player that's not, at least on the peripheral. And I think you're a recipe for disaster right there.
And the bad part is you saw him playing all summer at the Olympics, going all out, giving full-time effort, and then you missed the first half of the season. Just bad. I think the collective bargaining is going to be real interesting this next time with the load management, talking back to Kawhi. So definitely it'll be something to watch. Hey, let's transition to our ministry and leadership segment. We are sitting here on December 2nd as we enter into the Christmas season. And, as pastors and as parents or grandparents, I think we always have the challenge of everybody loves Christmas and we love this time of year. But in a Western church model and in a family living in America where we're all so blessed, I want to talk a little bit about gratitude. And, John, we got a lot of parents, whether in the church or out of the church. And how can we as parents give our children a good life and enjoy things like Christmas while still keeping Christ at the center? And maybe this is can kind of be something to reorient our thinking as we enter in this season. And how can we keep Christ at the center, but also build a culture of gratitude in our home? As a father of two daughters for both of us, what comes to mind practically with this, or theologically?
Sure. Well, I think, I'm not one of those individuals that just kind of throws out every potential tradition and strips down into Puritan version of celebrating Christ's birth. I think there are opportunities to use the shadows, and that's what I call them. The decorations, Christmas tree, the gift giving, all those things are shadows of the authentic thing and the good gift of Jesus Christ being born to a virgin and be able to have the opportunity for us to have a way of salvation. And so I think it's careful to slow down, I think with families and Christmas parties, you work in a church, December really gets ramped up. You got Christmas parties for staff. You got Christmas parties for convention life and associations. You got Sunday school gatherings that want you to come there and show up. And, you got a lot of different things that are moving on. You got family coming in to town, family leaving town, or you're traveling or whatever. You got extra services, you got extra opportunities, you got giving, you got just a myriad of things. And in that, you can just kind of get into a task-oriented drive as a pastor or a ministry leader or even a parent. And you get around and you look around and you're like, wait a second, it's December 18th. And I don't even remember it turning December, And so I think one of the things I try to encourage our parents to do here at our church and myself included in that is to slow down. Take the time to appreciate that. Our family walks through the entire Advent. Every night we have a reading together. We put out different manger pieces. We talk about the significance of Jesus' birth. We talk about gifts and excitement, joy tied to that. And then Michelle and I, we take the opportunity to remind them the reason we want to give you gifts, the reason you want to give us gifts is because of the incredible gift of Jesus Christ. And we try to continue to become central to that. We take the opportunity as well to connect with other members of our church. So if we're going to go watch Christmas lights, we're going to go, well, that's fine. Let's reach out to another family. Let's enjoy this together. Let's take the time to encourage one another in our faith and things like that. And so I think I think you can go too far on either side, right? You're like, hey, I don't celebrate anything. This is just Jesus, and so I don't put up a tree, like, nothing, right? Like, just that's wrong. Everything's wrong. And then you can go to, hey, I am shopping 20 something days out of the 25 days to Christmas, and I haven't even really thought about God or His Word or His presence. And so I think those are the two parameters. Our job is to stay in between those, right? Like sometimes we go out, we're shopping, we're doing stuff, we're talking about the excitement of the season. Other times we're careful to slow down and take pace and things like that. And so I think the responsibility of parent is like any other time, make the most of the opportunities that the Lord gives you. And if you hurry, you're going to miss those opportunities.
Yeah, that's a good word, John. I love the idea of working in the Advent into our nightly devos. I think you're seeing a lot of parents explore. For us, it happens at the dinner table. We have a natural conversation, and then whether it be reading through an animated Bible, and so the Advent, I'm gonna work that in there. But my bigger picture thought is, I think Gen X and some millennial parents, we have to realize that our children don't always understand the basics the way that we think they do, whether they be teenager or young adult. And so Christmas is such a foundational time of building the basics of the gospel, building the basics of the purpose of Christ in our life, and then just a culture of gratitude in our home for what the birth of Christ brings us. Dad, as somebody who's an empty nester now, but sees parents parenting kids, and you see it from a different lens, any thoughts on this topic of just keeping Christ centered in their home, in their lives? How does this land with you?
Yeah, I mean, I think it even goes back to Thanksgiving. I think people see Thanksgiving as a moment or even a gesture, but it's more than a gesture. It's an awareness. It's an everyday awareness that we're called to live by. And that's why you see the word Thanksgiving multiple times throughout the scriptures. So it's a spiritual awareness that we're called to live by. And at the end of the day, our kids and even us as adults, we learn most by doing and watching, not just hearing, audible teaching. That is a secondary. The primary is showcasing these things. And so as parents, we have to live these things out. And as we live these things out, then we continue to teach through our words, but our actions have got to match it. So I think John was right when you just, slow down and utilize. See, this is the time I think it's easiest if it is on our minds as parents to teach our kids because it's all around us. So we want to utilize even what the world talks about as Christmas and Thanksgiving and celebration, but then take it, to the biblical levels of here's exactly why we're celebrating. And so we utilize this opportunity in a greater way. And then at the same time, this is the great opportunity to showcase our faith in Jesus and the gospel message and all that we do and how we do it and how we respond. And so, if we're really interested in serving and showcasing the gospel in everything that we do, it is at the forefront of our minds. And if it's at the forefront of our minds, we will make it what it should be. And come January, when it's an awareness, not a gesture, January comes and nothing changes about what we are and what we're doing.
I agree. I think the opportunity of most people think January you can re-jump back on your spiritual disciplines, but I think December is a great heart awareness for hey, don't let me take for granted this gift that I have of salvation, and that's kind of a home base for us. And I think it's good that you're seeing parents explore different ways to build that type of spiritual foundation in their home. And so we're going to keep talking. We'll pick back up in January as the holiday comes up, and we'll talk some more sports. So gentlemen, hope y'all have a good day. John, who knows, you might have a new team name before you know it.